Show me your routine, and I'll show you your future. That is not just a clever line. It is a mirror held up to your life. Every outcome you experience, every success you create, every failure you struggle with can be traced back to what you do day after day. It's not fate, it's not luck, and it's not chance. It's the set of routines you choose and repeat. Think about your own days. When you wake up, what's the very first thing you do? Do you reach for your phone and get lost in other people's lives? Or do you take charge of your own? How do you handle the small choices, what you eat, how you work, how you spend your free time? These are not random details. They are building blocks. And whether you realize it or not, they are predicting the kind of future you are walking into. This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. If your routines are strong, your future becomes stronger. If your routines are weak, your future suffers. In this session, we're going to open your eyes to the truth. The routines you live with today are writing the story of your destiny tomorrow. Stay tuned, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Number 1, fix your sleep routine or watch your destiny collapse. When you think about destiny, you might imagine something far away, some moment in the future where everything finally makes sense. But destiny is not a single event. It is not something that shows up one day unannounced. Destiny is built day by day in the choices you make. And one of the first and most powerful choices is how you handle your sleep. If you cannot control your nights, your days will never belong to you. If your nights are broken, scattered, wasted, then your mornings will punish you, and your future will pay the price. Think about it for a moment. Every morning you wake up with one of two feelings. Either you feel alert, ready, clear, and steady, or you feel heavy, cloudy, tired, and slow. That feeling, that energy, that mental sharpness is not a mystery. It is the direct result of what you did the night before. Stay up too late, spend hours scrolling on your phone, eat junk food before bed, or waste time you promised yourself you wouldn't waste, and the morning exposes you. You wake up weaker, slower, less disciplined. And when that happens, you are not just losing a few hours of productivity, you are damaging your destiny. Because when you stack weak days on top of each other, you create a weak future. People often think they can cheat sleep. They think they can make up for lost sleep on the weekend, or they think drinking another cup of coffee will fix the damage. But the human body doesn't work like that. Your brain needs order, your body needs rhythm, and your destiny depends on how much energy, focus, and discipline you bring to the table each day. Without enough sleep, your self-control collapses. You say yes to things you should say no to. You avoid challenges that require effort. You forget details, you make mistakes, you settle for average. And average routines never produce extraordinary lives. Fixing your sleep is not about comfort. It's about taking control. It's about saying, I respect myself too much to destroy tomorrow by being careless tonight. It's about training yourself to close the day with discipline so you can open the next day with strength. If you don't fix your sleep routine, you are giving away your future piece by piece. Look at the most successful people you admire. Whether they are leaders, athletes, creators, or entrepreneurs, they protect their sleep. They protect it because they understand that energy is everything. You cannot plan a great life if your mind is foggy and your body is tired. You cannot show up for the people you love if you are running on fumes. And you cannot build a destiny worth living if every morning begins with regret that you didn't respect your night. So the question is, how do you fix it? Not with theory, not with big complicated systems, but with real actions. Start simple. Decide what time you will go to bed. Not the time that feels convenient, but the time that serves your future. For most people, it's not midnight. It's not 1 a.m. It's earlier than that. Choose the time and then make it non-negotiable. Just as you would not miss a meeting with someone important, do not miss your meeting with your own future. Because every hour of sleep you miss, you steal from the life you are supposed to live. The second step is preparation. Your mind does not shut down the moment you lie down. If you fill your head with noise, negativity, or endless distractions, your brain stays restless. That's why so many people lie in bed but cannot fall asleep. Their body is in bed, but their mind is still running. Prepare for sleep the same way you prepare for an important event. Create a routine that signals to your brain, the day is ending. Now it is time to recharge. That could mean turning off screens an hour before bed, reading something calming, writing down tomorrow's tasks so your mind doesn't keep rehearsing them, or spending quiet moments in reflection. The third step is to be consistent. Your body has an internal clock, and it rewards you when you respect it. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, not just on work days, but on weekends too. Consistency builds rhythm, and rhythm builds strength. And once you build that rhythm, your mornings transform. You wake up with clarity. You wake up with energy. You wake up with discipline already in your blood. And when you start the day with that kind of strength, your destiny begins to change. Here's the truth. Sleep is not optional. It is not a luxury. It is not something you get around to when life is less busy. Sleep is a foundation. Without it, you lose your ability to think, to focus, to create, to discipline yourself. And if you cannot discipline yourself, you will not get the life you want. You will not be able to build the business, create the wealth, raise the family, or design the future. That is why I say it clearly. Fix your sleep routine or watch your destiny collapse. Think of the consequences. Poor sleep doesn't just cost you energy. It damages your relationships because you become impatient, short-tempered, easily irritated. It damages your health because your body doesn't repair itself. Your immune system weakens, your hormones fall out of balance. It damages your career because you show up late, unprepared, distracted, and eventually people stop trusting you to deliver. It damages your self-respect because deep down, you know you are betraying yourself every night. And betrayal of self is the fastest way to lose belief in your own future. But now imagine the opposite. Imagine you fix your sleep and suddenly your mornings are steady. You wake up with energy. Your mind is sharp. Your focus is clear. You have patience with your family. You show up prepared for your work. You stay calm under pressure. You execute your plans. You respect yourself because you kept your word. And then, day after day, week after week, month after month, you are no longer the same person. Your destiny is no longer collapsing, it is building. Strong routines build strong futures. Weak routines destroy them. And yes, it will be uncomfortable at first. If you are used to staying up late, your mind will resist. You will hear the excuses. One more show, one more scroll, one more hour. That voice in your head is not your friend. That voice is stealing your future. When you hear it, remind yourself, my destiny matters more than another wasted hour. My destiny matters more than scrolling through someone else's life while mine slips away. My destiny matters more than staying comfortable tonight. If you truly want a different life, you cannot ignore your nights. Discipline at night creates strength in the morning. Strength in the morning builds consistent action. Consistent action builds destiny. This is not philosophy. This is reality. You already know how you feel when you get enough sleep. You already know how you perform when your energy is high. So why keep repeating the same careless routine that makes you weaker? Why trade a strong future for a few empty hours? Every human being has a choice. Either you design your routine or your routine designs you. If your routine is broken, your destiny is broken. If your routine is disciplined, your destiny is disciplined. That is the law of life. It does not bend. It does not wait. It does not play favorites. Life will reward the person who respects their time and punish the one who wastes it. And sleep is the first battle you must win. Start tonight. Do not wait for next week. Do not wait for the new year. Decide tonight that your destiny matters enough to turn off the distractions, enough to respect your body, enough to prepare for tomorrow. And when you wake up tomorrow with clarity and strength, you will know you have taken one step away from collapse and one step closer to the destiny you deserve. The people who succeed in life are not always the most talented, not always the most educated, not always the ones with the best opportunities. They are the ones who respect their routines. They are the ones who understand that destiny is hidden in the small daily choices. And nothing is smaller and more powerful than the choice to go to bed on time and rise with energy. So I challenge you, fix your sleep, make it non-negotiable, protect it like you protect your most valuable treasure. Because it is. Your future depends on it. Your family depends on it. Your career depends on it. Your self-respect depends on it. And your destiny, your one chance to create the life you dream about, depends on it. Fix your sleep routine or watch your destiny collapse. The choice is in your hands. Number 3, repeat learning habits daily and shape a smarter destiny. Every human being has a chance to grow, but not everyone chooses it. The difference between a life that expands and a life that shrinks is the decision to learn every day. When you build daily learning habits, you give your mind new tools, new ideas, new perspectives. Without them, your thoughts recycle the same patterns, your actions stay predictable, and your results never change. Destiny doesn't bend to wishes. It bends to the knowledge and skills you acquire, one day at a time. Think about how the brain works. It thrives on stimulation. When you feed it with new information, it grows stronger. When you challenge it, it adapts. But when you leave it untouched, it slows down. It resists change. And it starts building walls instead of opening doors. Daily learning is not just about facts. It's about training your mind to stay flexible, curious, and sharp. A sharp mind sees opportunities others overlook. A dull mind repeats the same mistakes until life becomes a cycle of frustration. Most people stop learning after school. They graduate, get a job, and think the process is complete. But school was only the beginning. Life itself is the real classroom, and the diploma is not enough to prepare you for what is ahead. Every day brings new challenges, new problems, and new demands. If you do not upgrade your thinking, you will try to solve new problems with old tools, and old tools cannot shape a new future. That is why the habit of learning is not optional. It is essential for survival, and more than survival, it is essential for growth. What does learning look like in real life? It does not always mean reading a whole book in one sitting. It could mean reading a few pages that spark a new idea. It could mean listening to someone wiser and writing down what resonates. It could mean practicing a new skill for 20 minutes and noticing small improvements. The power is not in the size of the habit. It is in the repetition. Daily repetition creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. Consider this: 10 minutes of focused learning every day equals more than 60 hours a year. 60 hours spent sharpening your mind instead of wasting it. That is enough time to finish multiple books, master a new skill, or completely rewire how you think about success. Most people claim they don't have time, but the truth is they don't value it. They trade hours for entertainment and excuses, while their destiny silently drifts away. Those who respect their time invested in learning, and that investment compounds. The more you learn, the more valuable you become. To yourself, to your work, to your family, to society. Daily learning habits also build confidence. Every time you learn something new, you expand what you believe is possible. You carry yourself for it new and know you have grown since yesterday. Growth gives you the courage to attempt more, to risk more, to demand more of yourself. Without growth, insecurity creeps in. You start doubting your abilities. You avoid challenges, and you settle for less. Confidence is not just a personality trait. It is the product of knowledge, practiced over time. Let's not forget the emotional power of learning. A mind that learns daily feels alive. There is excitement in discovering something new. There is pride in seeing your skills improve. There is joy in realizing that your future is not fixed. It can be shaped. Compare that to the heaviness of stagnation, where every day feels the same and every year blends into the then. That heaviness is not destiny. It is neglect. Learning is the antidote. It breathes energy into your days and hope into your future. You must also understand the connection between learning and decision-making. Every decision you make today is guided by the knowledge you carry. If your knowledge is limited, your choices are mealit. And if your choices are limited, your future is limited. But when you learn daily, you expand the options available to you. You see more angles, more solutions, more opportunities. You stop being trapped by ignorance and start being guided by wisdom. Wisdom is not built overnight. It is built through thousands of small learning moments, stacked together. So how do you build the habit? The key is simplicity. Don't make it complicated. Choose something you can do consistently. Read 10 pages of a valuable book. Watch a lecture that challenges your perspective. Write down what you learned and reflect on how to use it. Practice a skill that improves your career or strengthens your character. Keep it simple, but make it non-negotiable. The goal is not to do it once in a while. The goal is to make it part of who you are. Another important point, learning is not just personal. Share it, teach it. When you explain something to others, you understand it at a deeper level. It forces clarity. And when people see you growing, they are inspired to grow too. Your habit becomes a ripple that affects not only your destiny, but theirs. Imagine the impact if every person around you committed to daily learning. The conversations would rise, the standards would rise, and the future of everyone in that circle would rise. There will be days when you don't feel like it. That is natural, but feelings cannot dictate your destiny. Discipline must. On those days, remember where you start. Remember that your mind is your greatest asset, and neglecting it is the most expensive mistake you can make. Ask yourself, how much is ignorance costing me right now? How many opportunities have I missed because I didn't know enough? How many times have I repeated a mistake because I refused to learn? The answers are painful, but they are necessary. Pain can be a powerful motivator to never neglect your growth again. Now imagine the opposite picture. Imagine Earth 1 year from now. After repeating daily learning habits, you have read books, practiced skills, asked better questions, written down insights, and applied them. You think sharper, you speak clearer, you solve problems faster, you earn more respect, you feel more confident. You are no longer the same person because you built a smarter destiny with deliberate effort. That future is possible, but only if you begin today and repeat it tomorrow and the next day and every day after that. The truth is, destiny is not determined by talent alone. Many talented people waste their potential because they stop learning. Destiny is not determined by luck alone. Many lucky people lose what they gained because they stop improving. Destiny is determined by discipline. The discipline to when others are comfortable being entertained. The discipline to grow when others are shrinking. The discipline to choose knowledge over ignorance every single day. Your life will always be a reflection of your habits. If your habits are weak, your future will be weak. If your habits are strong, your future will be strong. Daily learning habits are the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every book you open, every skill you practice, every idea you absorb becomes part of your foundation. And the stronger your foundation, the higher you can build. So the message is clear. Repeat learning habits daily and shape a smarter destiny. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for permission. Start now. Read 1 page today. Learn 1 new thing today. Ask 1 better question today. And tomorrow, repeat it. Then repeat it again. Small steps, done daily, create a lifetime of transformation. And when you look back years from now, you will see that your destiny was not built in a single moment. It was built in the quiet, consistent, powerful act of learning every single day. Number 4, track your daily actions honestly to see your real path. Most people believe they know where their life is heading, but the truth is often different. If you want to see your real path, you cannot rely on guesses or feelings. You must track your actions with complete honesty. What you do daily reveals more about your future than what you say you want. Dreams sound beautiful, but actions never lie. Every habit, every choice, every routine you repeat is pointing toward a destination. If you don't track it, you're blind to where you're going. Human beings are good at making excuses. We convince ourselves that we are working harder than we are, that we are being more disciplined than we are, that we are moving faster than we are. Without a record, the mind exaggerates. It tells us stories we want to believe, not the truth we need to face. That's why honest tracking is powerful. It removes illusions. It shows you in black and white how you are really living, not how you imagine you are living. Take one simple example: health. Many people say they eat healthy, yet when they write down what they consume daily, they are shocked. Snacks they forgot about, drinks they didn't count, meals they justified in the moment. All of it adds up. The same goes for money. People say they are careful with spending until they track their purchases and realize how much is slipping away. Work is no different. You may think you are productive, but when you record your time, you see how often distraction steals your day. Tracking is not about judgment. It's about truth. And only when you see the truth can you change your path. When you track daily actions, you hold yourself accountable. Accountability is the bridge between intention and result. Without it, you drift. With it, you see clearly. Did I move forward today, or did I stand still? Progress becomes measurable instead of vague. And when progress is measurable, improvement becomes inevitable. Because the moment you notice where you're weak, you have the power to correct it. Think about the psychology of this. The brain pays attention to what gets measured. If you measure nothing, the brain treats your goals as optional. But if you track consistently, the brain recognizes patterns. It rewards you when you improve. It warns you when you slip. Tracking is a mirror. It shows you exactly who you are becoming. And while mirrors can be uncomfortable, they are necessary if you want to grow. Tracking also reveals consistency. Anyone can have a good day by accident. But destiny is not built on accidents. It's built on pattern. By writing down your actions, you begin to notice, are my days aligned with my vision, or are they random? Do I repeat actions that build me, or do I repeat actions that destroy me? Over time, those patterns reveal your true path. You cannot tattoo with them. You cannot negotiate with them. They show you the life you are creating with absolute clarity. Now, what does honest tracking look like? It's simple. Pick the areas of life that matter most. Your health, your work, your finances, your relationships, your personal growth, and record what you actually do each day. Don't record what you meant to do. Don't record what you wish you had done. Only record what happened. Did you exercise? Yes or no? Did you study? Yes or no? Did you spend time wisely? Yes or no? Keep it simple, but keep it honest. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might resist seeing the truth on paper. That resistance is proof of why you need it. If you avoid tracking, you are avoiding reality, and avoiding reality never changes anything. Facing reality, even when it hurts, is the beginning of transformation. Because once you face it, you can take responsibility. And responsibility is power. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people with the same dream, to build a successful career. One writes down his daily actions. The other doesn't. After 6 months, the first person has a clear picture. He sees how much time he spent learning, how many projects he completed, how many hours he wasted, and how often he procrastinated. He can adjust, improve, and accelerate. The second person has only a vague feeling. He remembers some good days and some bad days, but he doesn't know the real picture. Guess who moves faster? Guess who shapes a stronger destiny? The same applies to relationships. People often say they care about their family, but when they track their time, they realize how little attention they give. Words without proof are just noise. Tracking exposes the gap between what you say you value and what you actually value. And if you want to live an honest life, that day must close. Another hidden benefit of tracking is motivation. Progress feels invisible until you record it. If you're trying to lose weight, the scale may not move for weeks. But if you track your meals and your workouts, you see the effort stacking up. That effort becomes motivation. If you're trying to grow a business, revenue might feel slow. But if you track the calls you make, the emails you send, the skills you practice, you see the forward motion. That motion creates belief, and belief fuels persistence. The reason many people give up on their goals is not because they cannot achieve them. It's because they don't see progress. Tracking makes progress visible. Even small wins become clear when you write them down. And small wins, repeated daily, create big victories over time. Now, tracking is useless without honesty. If you lie on paper, you are only lying to yourself. This is where most hyphen fail. They inflate numbers. They skip the days they're ashamed of. They polish the record to protect their ego. But ego doesn't build destiny. Honesty does. If the record shows failure, accept it. Failure is not the enemy. Denial is. Failure can be corrected. Denial cannot. This is why the act of tracking requires courage. It forces you to face the gap between who you are and who you want to be. But that dig is the exact place where growth happens. When you see it, you know what to fix. Without it, you wander blind. The person who tracks with honesty may feel pain at first, but that pain becomes progress. The person who avoids it feels comfortable at first, but that comfort becomes regret. So ask yourself, what do my daily actions really show? If someone followed me around with a notebook and wrote down everything I did, what would they conclude about my future? Would they see discipline, growth, focus, and purpose? Or would they see distraction, waste, avoidance, and inconsistency? That picture is not imaginary. It already exists in your routine. Tracking simply mile it visible. Destiny is not a mystery. It is the sum of repeated choices. If you want to know your future, don't look at your dreams. Look at your actions. And the best way to see those actions clearly is to track them daily, not weekly, not monthly, daily. Because destiny is built in the daily grind, not in occasional bursts. When you commit to this, something powerful happens. You stop living in excuses. You stop pretending you are further along than you are. You stop saying someday and start saying today. And once today is in your control, tomorrow follows. Your path becomes visible. Your progress becomes undeniable. And your future becomes intentional. Track your daily actions honestly, and your life will reveal itself. The truth may sting, but it will also set you free. Free from illusions, free from excuses, free from false belief. And in that freedom, you find power. The power to redirect, to improve, to grow, and to build the destiny you deserve. Number 5, remove destructive routines now, or they decide your destiny. Every person carries routines, and not all of them are useful. Some are quietly shaping progress, while others are silently destroying potential. Destructive routines are dangerous because they look harmless in the moment. They disguise themselves as comfort, as relief, as small choices that don't matter. But when they repeat every day, they begin to steer your life in a direction you never wanted to go. That is why removing destructive routines is urgent. If you do not end them, they will decide your destiny without your permission. Take a close look at your own days. What habits do you repeat that steal time, drain energy, or weaken discipline? Maybe it's reaching for your phone the moment you wake up. Maybe it's eating food that leaves you sluggish. Maybe it's skipping exercise, ignoring responsibilities, or drowning hours in entertainment. None of these feel catastrophic in one moment, but that is the trap. Their damage is slow, steady, and invisible until it becomes unavoidable. By the time you realize it, months or years are gone, and the cost is heavy. The psychology behind destructive routines is clear. The brain craves the path of least resistance. It wants comfort. It wants the familiar. It wants relief from effort. Destructive habits provide that, but at a long-term cost. Each time you choose them, you reinforce the brain's desire for ease instead of growth. Over time, your willpower weakens, your standards drop, and your belief in change erodes. You begin to settle for less, not because you wanted less, but because your routines conditioned you to accept less. Think of the consequences in simple terms. If you have a routine of avoiding challenges, your destiny becomes small. If you have a routine of spending more than you earn, your destiny becomes burdened with debt. If you have a routine of filling your nights with distractions instead of preparation, your destiny becomes filled with regret. Every destructive routine is not just stealing today, it is writing the script of your future. To remove destructive routines, you must first identify them with brutal honesty. Most people defend their bad habits. They say it's just how I relax, or it's only temporary, or I can stop anytime I want. These words are not truth. They are excuses designed to protect comfort. If you truly want to change your path, you must stop justifying what is destroying you. Write down your routines and ask yourself, does this serve my future or sabotage it? If it sabotages, it must go. But removal is not just about stopping, it's about replacing. When you rip out a destructive routine without filling the gap, your brain seeks another escape. That's why so many people quit one bad habit, only to adopt another. The key is to replace destructive routines with constructive ones. Instead of wasting hours on empty entertainment, invest that time in reading, talking, or practice. Instead of avoiding exercise, replace the avoidance with movement that builds strength. Instead of complaining daily, replace it with gratitude or problem solving. The human mind hates a vacuum. Give it something better to hold on to. There will be your old routines will fight to survive. They are wired into your brain, and your ruby will crave them. But cravings are not commands. They are signals you can override. Each time you resist and replace, the craving weakens. Each time you give in, its strength. Your destiny is shaped in that battle. No one wins it for you. You must win it yourself. One decision at a time. Consider how destructive routines affect identity. Every habit you repeat tells your mind who you are. If your routines are lazy, you begin to see yourself as lazy. If your routines are disciplined, you see yourself as disciplined. That self-image determines what goals you set, what risks you take, and what standards you demand. If you want a destiny of strength, you cannot afford routines that whisper weakness into your identity. Remove them, because they are not just actions. They are stories you are telling yourself about who you are becoming. The cost of destructive routines is not just personal. They affect the people around you. When you neglect growth, your family receives less of your best self. When you waste time, your community loses the value you could have given. When you repeat careless habits, others pay part of the price. Your destiny is not yours alone. It is connected to those who depend on you. Removing destructive routines is not selfish. It is one of the most generous things you can do. One of the greatest mistakes people make is waiting for the right time to fix their routine. They say they will change when life slows down, when the stress is lower, when the urchin feels perfect. That time never comes. Life will always be busy. Stress will always be present. And opportunities will never wait. The only right time is now. Every day you continue a destructive routine is another day your destiny is slipping away. Change today, not tomorrow. Let's look at how this plays out in real results. Imagine two people with the same dream of building financial freedom. One keeps the routine of spending impulsively, ignoring budgets, and chasing instant gratification. The other removes that destructive kaif and replaces it with saving, investing, and tracking money. 10 years later, their destinies are not even close. One is trapped by debt. The other is free. The difference is not talent or luck. It is the presence or absence of destructive routines. Or consider health. Two people both want to live long, energetic lives. One repeats the routine of fast fuel, late nights, and no exercise. The other removes those routines and builds habits of good sleep, balanced meals, and consistent training. Years later, one is limited by illness, while the other is thriving. Destiny does not arrive as a surprise. It arrives as the predictable outcome of routines repeated daily. If you doubt this, keep a record of your routines for 30 days. Write down what you eat, how you spend time, how you use energy. At the end, ask yourself, if I lived this way for 5 years, where would it lead me? That answer will reveal whether you are building or destroying your destiny. The truth is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating, because once you see it, you can change it. Removing destructive routines is not easy, but it is necessary. It is not about being perfect. It is about being honest. Each destructive habit you remove is like clearing a rock from your path. The more you clear, the smoother your journey becomes. And once the path is clear, your energy, focus, and potential can go into building the life you want. The question you must ask yourself is simple. Who is in control? Me or my routines? If your routines are destructive, they are in control. They are quietly choosing your destiny without your input. But when you remove them, you take control back. You declare that your life will not be shaped by weakness, but by strength. And from that declaration, everything begins to change. Destiny is not built in grand moments. It is built in quiet repetitions. If those repetitions are destructive, the future collapses. If they are constructive, the future expands. The choice is clear. Remove destructive routines now, or they will remove your chance at the life you could have lived. Number 6, build discipline into mornings. To build discipline into life. Discipline is not something you discover by accident. It is built through choices that are repeated until they become a natural part of who you are. And there is no better time to build discipline than in the morning. The way you command your mornings shapes the way you command your life. If you begin the day with structure, strength, and commitment, those same qualities carry into every other part of the day. If you begin with chaos, excuses, or laziness, that tone follows you too. The truth is simple. Build discipline into your mornings, and you will build discipline into your life. When the morning comes, you are standing at the doorway of a new chance. Every day begins with possibility, but that possibility must be seized. The first hours are not just another part of the day. They are the foundation. Your willpower is highest. Your mind is most impressionable, and your energy is waiting for direction. That is why mornings are powerful. They are the training ground for discipline. The actions you take in that time teach your mind whether you are serious about your goals or careless about your future. Discipline is not about how you feel. It is about what you do. And mornings test that truth better than any other moment. You may not feel like rising when the alarm rings, but if you get up anyway, you are training discipline. You may not feel like exercising when your body is stiff, but if you move anyway, you are training discipline. You may not feel like studying, reading, or planning when distractions tempt you, but if you focus anyway, you are training discipline. Each morning you repeat this, you become stronger, not just for that moment, but for every challenge ahead. The reason mornings are so critical is because they are less influenced by outside forces. The world has not yet flooded you with demands, noise, and interruptions. In those quiet hours, you have control. That control gives you the chance to practice discipline without excuse. If you waste it, you have surrendered one of the greatest tools available to you. If you master it, you build an advantage that most people never discover. Think about what happens when discipline becomes part of your morning. You no longer hit snooze endlessly. You wake when you said you would. You no longer rush in panic. You move with intention. You no longer let your mind wander aimlessly. You direct it toward what matters. These small victories may not look dramatic, but they are powerful. Each one reinforces the identity of a disciplined person. And once that identity takes root, it spreads into every corner of your life. Psychology tells us that habits stack. When you complete one disciplined action, you are more likely to complete the next. Wake up on time and it is easier to exercise. And it is easier to eat well. Eat well, and it is easier to focus at work. Focus at work, and it is easier to close the day with satisfaction. It all begins with the first steps in the morning. That is why discipline, there is this just a routine. It is the seed of an entire lifestyle. You must also understand that discipline builds trust with yourself. Each morning you keep your word. You strengthen belief in your own ability. Self-trust is one of the most valuable qualities a person can have. When you know you will follow through, you no longer doubt yourself. You act with certainty, and certainty fuels achievement. But when you break promises to yourself, even small ones, doubt grows. You stop believing in your ability to change, and that doubt spreads into your goals, your relationships, and your vision. Mornings are where that battle begins. Building discipline into mornings does not require perfection. It requires commitment. Choose a few actions that represent order and strength for you. It might be rising at the same time every day. It might be exercise, writing, studying, or planning. Whatever it is, repeat it without negotiation. The key is consistency. Discipline does not grow from doing something once in a while. It grows from doing it again and again, especially when it is inconvenient. Inconvenience is the furnace where discipline is forged. People often believe they need motivation to start. Motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you will feel inspired. others you will not. Discipline means doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. When you build that in your mornings, you stop waiting for motivation and start living by commitment. And that commitment becomes the foundation of a powerful life. Imagine the long-term effect. 1 year of disciplined mornings means hundreds of days where you won the first battle. Hundreds of days where you prove to yourself that you are in control. Hundreds of days where your actions aligned with your goals. That repetition reshapes your character. It makes discipline second nature. And when discipline is second nature, there is almost nothing you cannot achieve. Without disciplined mornings, life becomes reactive. You start the day behind, chasing tasks, making excuses, and watching your goals slip further away. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about freedom. When you command your mornings, you free yourself from the chaos of unplanned days. You give yourself direction, clarity, and strength. That freedom builds confidence, and confidence builds destiny. Think of the alternative. A person who avoids discipline in the morning builds habits of avoidance all day. They postpone responsibilities. They settle for less effort. They indulge distractions. That becomes their character. And character shapes destiny. This is why mornings are so important. They are not just hours. They are training for who you are becoming. So ask yourself, how do you want your life to look 5 years from now? Strong, focused, successful and meaningful, or scattered, frustrated, and filled with regret? The answer lies in how you handle tomorrow morning. That choice may seem small, but it is not. It is the foundation of everything that follows. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not always exciting. It is often repetitive and demanding. But those who embrace it in the mornings discover that it makes peace easier, not harder. Because once you are disciplined, decisions are simple. You don't argue with yourself. You don't delay endlessly. You don't waste energy on excuses. You just act. That simplicity creates momentum, and momentum carries you forward. If you want to change your life, begin by changing your mornings. Commit to rising with purpose. Commit to actions that strengthen you. Commit to keeping promises to yourself before the world even wakes up. Each morning you do this, you add another brick to the foundation of discipline. And when that foundation is strong, the structure of your life stands unshakable. Build discipline into your mornings, and you will build discipline into your life. Every sunrise becomes an opportunity to prove your strength. Every early action becomes evidence of your commitment. And every day you repeat it, your destiny takes shape, not by chance, but by deliberate design. Number 7, protect your daily focus and protect your future success. Focus is the doorway to success, yet most people treat it as if it were endless. In reality, focus is limited. You only have so much attention each day, and where you direct it determines what you achieve and who you become. If you protect your focus, you protect your future. If you give it away carelessly, you destroy opportunities before they even begin. Future success is not stolen by competitors or luck. It is wasted by distractions that drain your concentration one moment at a time. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of mental energy. Think of it as fuel. With that fuel, you can move closer to your goals, or you can burn it on meaningless activity. When you protect focus, you direct that energy to the tasks that matter. When you don't, you allow interruptions, entertainment, and noise to consume it. By midday, you feel tired. But the truth is, you aren't tired. You are scattered. Scattered minds rarely build strong futures. The human brain was not designed for constant switching. Each time you move from one task to another, your attention fragments. Modern life is filled with alerts, notifications, endless information, and constant noise competing for your focus. If you allow these interruptions, your mind never enters deep work, the state where true progress happens. You may feel busy, but busy is not productive. Only focused effort moves you forward, and protecting it is the difference between mediocrity and mastery. Protecting focus begins with clarity. You cannot defend what you haven't defined. Ask yourself each morning, what are the most important actions that must be done today? Write them down. Be specific. When you identify priorities, you give your brain a clear target. Without that target, the brain drifts. It searches for stimulation. And stimulation usually means distraction. Clarity prevents drifting. It forces attention where it belongs. Once you know your priorities, the next step is eliminating thieves of focus. Distractions are not neutral. They are enemy. They come in the form of phones, emails, gossip, pointless meetings, and countless small interruptions that seem harmless but add up to hours lost. You cannot negotiate with distractions. You must remove them. Turn off notifications. Set boundaries with people who interrupt your flow. Create workspaces that are clean, simple, and free from clutter. The fewer obstacles you face, the easier it becomes to protect your concentration. But protecting focus is not just about environment. It's also about discipline. There will always be temptations to do the easier thing, to drift into entertainment, to check what doesn't matter. This is where mental strength comes in. Each time you resist and return to your work, you train your brain to value focus over distraction. Over time, this becomes habit. And once it becomes habit, focus no longer feels like a struggle. It feels like your natural state. Focus is also deeply connected to time. If you want to protect it, you must structure your day. Block time for important work and defend it fiercely. During those blocks, do not allow interruptions. Not in small ones. Treat that time as sacred. If someone asked to take away money from your account, you would resist. Yet every time you allow distraction, you are letting someone withdraw minutes from your life. Time is more valuable than money. Because once it's gone, you cannot earn it back. Protect it with the same seriousness you would protect your greatest treasure. One of the most overlooked aspects of focus is energy management. You cannot expect sharp concentration if your body and mind are exhausted. Protecting focus means protecting your health. Sleep well, eat food that sustains energy. Move your body and take short breaks when needed. Fatigue makes distractions irresistible. A strong body supports a strong mind, and a strong mind guards focus. Success is not about pushing endlessly. It is about working sharply, and sharpness requires energy. There is also an emotional side to focus. Worry, anger, and stress consume attention as much as external noise. If your mind is filled with unresolved emotions, you cannot fully focus on your tasks. Protecting focus means protecting your emotional state. Learn to release what you cannot control. Practice gratitude to center your perspective. Build habits of reflection to clear mental clutter. When your emotions are stable, your attention becomes available for the work that matters. Protecting focus also demands saying no. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something critical. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they waste energy on commitments that don't serve their goals. Success requires selective attention. You must be willing to disappoint others occasionally, so you do not disappoint your future. Each no protects the yes that truly matter. The rewards of protecting focus are enormous. When you consistently give your best 10 to meaningful work, progress accelerates. Tasks that once took hours begin to take less time because you are sharper. You begin producing results that stand out because few people are willing to work at that level of depth. This creates opportunities, builds reputation, and increases confidence. Every success you achieve reinforces the discipline of focus, creating a cycle of growth. Look at the long-term effect. A person who spends 2 hours daily in deep, focused work will achieve more in a year than someone who spends 10 hours scattered in distractions. The difference is not effort, it is attention. Multiply that over 5 years, and the gap becomes destiny. One person builds mastery, the other stays average. Protecting focus today means protecting success tomorrow. Focus must be renewed daily. You cannot rely on yesterday's effort to carry today. Each morning you begin fresh, with a new chance to direct your attention. Treat it as a responsibility. Ask yourself, where must my focus go today to move me closer to my goals? Then guard that attention like your future depends on it, because it does. The danger of ignoring this is clear.
A life of constant distraction leads to shallow work, half-finished goals, and wasted potential. People who fail to protect focus often look back with regret. They realize too late that their best years were lost to meaningless activity. Don't let that be your story. Protect your daily focus now, while you still have time to build the life you want. Focus is the currency of success. Where it flows, growth happens. Where it is wasted, decline follows. Protecting your focus is not a luxury. It is survival. Your dreams, your career, your relationships, your health, and your self-respect all depend on it. Every day you are either guarding that currency or giving it away. Protect your daily focus, and you protect your future success. Make that decision today, and tomorrow you will already be ahead of the crowd. Repeat it long enough, and you will live a destiny built not on luck or chance, but on the consistent power of concentrated effort.
Number 8, replace empty routines with ones that move destiny forward. Every life is filled with routines, but not every routine carries meaning. Some routines strengthen your future, while others drain it without you noticing. Empty routines are the habits that give you nothing back. They fill time but leave you with no progress, no growth, and no lasting value. You repeat them because they feel easy, familiar, or comforting. But day after day, they rob you of opportunities. If you want a destiny worth living, you must replace those empty routines with routines that push you forward. It starts with awareness. Many people live on autopilot, repeating actions simply because they've always done them. They wake up, scroll endlessly, complain, procrastinate, eat without thinking, or waste hours in activities that change nothing. These routines feel harmless in the moment, but over years they form chains. Chains that tie you to mediocrity. Chains that make your future smaller than your potential. You cannot build greatness on empty repetitions. You must break those patterns and install new ones that move your destiny in the right direction. The psychology behind this is clear. Habits shape identity, and identity shapes destiny. Every routine you repeat tells your brain who you are. Empty routines tell your brain that you accept stagnation. Empowering routines tell your brain that you are committed to growth. The brain doesn't care which story you give it. It only follows what you repeat. That is why you must be deliberate. If you don't design your routines will design you. Replacing empty routines is not about working harder for the sake of it. It is about aligning your daily actions with your long-term vision. Ask yourself, does this routine build the person I want to become, or does it keep me stuck where I am? If the answer is stuck, it must go. For example, if you have a routine of starting the day with gossip or endless scrolling, replace it with reading something that sharpens your mind. If you have a routine of wasting evenings in distractions, replace it with practicing a skill or planning the next day. If you have a routine of reacting emotionally to every challenge, replace it with pausing, reflecting, and responding with clarity. Each replacement creates forward momentum. The hardest part is honesty. People defend their empty routines because they feel safe. They say, this is just how I relax, or it's not hurting anyone, or it's just what I do. But comfort is not the same as progress. Relaxation has its eyes, but when it becomes routine at the expense of growth, it turns into sabotage. Empty routines do hurt. They hurt your future self, the one who will look back wondering why so much time was wasted. To change, you must admit the truth. Some of your habits are not neutral. They are destructive because they consume the time that could have built your destiny. Once you decide to replace them, start small but stay consistent. Choose one empty routine to eliminate and replace it with a constructive one. If you spend an hour every night watching meaningless videos, replace 30 minutes of that time with learning something valuable. If you spend mornings rushing aimlessly, replace that with 10 minutes of planning and setting clear priorities. Each change may look small, but small changes compound. Over weeks and months, they transform your direction. There's also a deeper psychological benefit. When you replace empty routines with meaningful ones, you build self-respect. Nothing feels better than keeping promises to yourself. Each time you replace wasted time with progress, you prove to yourself that you are serious
about your future. That proof builds confidence. Confidence creates courage. Courage leads to bigger actions, and bigger actions build destiny. Replacing routines reshapes how others see you. People notice patterns even if they don't say it. If your routines are lazy, careless, or wasteful, others lose trust in your ability. But when your routines show discipline, learning, and consistency, others respect you, opportunities open, and your reputation strengthens. Destiny is not only about what you think of yourself, but also how the world responds to the person you are becoming. The danger of empty routines is that they steal life in silence. Nobody notices the cost in the moment. 10 minutes wasted here, 20 minutes wasted there. It feels small, but added up over years, and you lose thousands of hours. Hours that could have been invested in health, in relationships, in learning, in building. Empty routines are not just harmless habits. They are thieves of time, and time is the one resource you cannot recover. The good news is that replacing them is always possible. No matter how long you've repeated empty routines, you can make a shift. Your brain is built for change. It adapts to new patterns when you give it consistent signals. At first, the old routines will fight back. You will feel the pull of comfort, the temptation to slide back. But each time you resist and choose the better routine, you weaken the old path and strengthen the new one. Eventually, the new routine feels natural, and the old one feels foreign. That is how transformation happens. Not in one leap, but in unit replacement. Picture this clearly. You wake tomorrow and replace an empty routine with something meaningful. You wake up earlier, move your body, feed your mind, plan your day. Already the direction of your destiny shifts. Multiply that by weeks, by months, by years, and the difference is massive. Two paths open before you. One built on empty routines, leading to regret. The other built on meaningful routines, leading to growth. Which one you walk depends on what you do today. Your destiny is not determined by chance. It is the result of repeated habits. Empty routines guarantee an empty future. Constructive routines guarantee progress. There is no in between. Every time you repeat an action, you are voting for the person you will become. Enough votes in the wrong direction, and your future collapses. Enough votes in the right direction, and your future expands. Replace empty routines with ones that move your destiny forward. Remove the habits that steal and install the habits that build. Take control of your days, and you will take control of your year. Take control of your years, and you will take control of your life. The change begins not with luck, not with waiting, but with the simple decision to replace what is empty with what is meaningful. Number 9, stick to consistent routines, because inconsistency kills destiny. Success is never built on random effort. It is the result of routines that are repeated day after day until they shape who you are. Inconsistency destroys that process because it breaks the chain of one day of effort does not change your future. 1 week of effort does not create transformation. It is the accumulation of consistent actions, repeated without constant restarting, that builds the foundation of destiny. When you stop and start, when you commit for a short time and then quit, you lose momentum, you weaken belief in yourself, and you watch opportunities slip away. That is why consistency is not optional. It is the lifeline of success. The psychology of this is simple but powerful. The brain learns through repetition. Each time you act, you strengthen a pathway. If you repeat it consistently, the pathway becomes stronger until it becomes automatic. This is how discipline is formed, how confidence grows, and how mastery is achieved. Inconsistency prevents this process from ever taking hold. You make some progress, then you undo it. You build part of the foundation, then you knock it down. Over time, the brain learns not to trust your commitments. And when you stop trusting yourself, you stop aiming high. Many people live trapped in cycles of inconsistency. They start new routines with excitement, but abandon them at the first sign of discomfort. They promise themselves to change, but the promise is forgotten within weeks. Each time this happens,
it damages self-respect. You begin to see yourself as someone who cannot follow through. That image becomes part of your identity. An identity shapes behavior. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you act inconsistently. The only way to break this cycle is to prove the opposite through daily follow-through. Consistency does not mean perfection. Life will always bring obstacles. You will face days of fatigue, stress, or unexpected challenges. But consistency means you continue despite those obstacles. You adapt when necessary, but you do not abandon. The person who pushes through difficulty, who stays committed when it is inconvenient, builds strength. The person who only acts when it feels easy builds nothing. Every time you stay consistent through difficulty, you add another layer of resilience to your character. Destiny is not built in bursts of motivation. Motivation fades. Excitement cools. What remains is discipline. Consistency is the practice of showing up even when the feeling is gone. Those who master it separate themselves from the crowd. Most people can act when they are inspired. Few can act when they are not. That is why so few achieve greatness. Greatness belongs to those who keep moving when the mood is gone. Think of the practical examples. A person who exercises 3 days this week, none the next, and again the week after will not see result. But a person who shows up every day, even for a shorter workout, will build strength and health over time. A student who studies heavily for 2 weeks and then quits will forget more than they learned. But a student who studies a little each day will master the subject. In business, an entrepreneur who takes action only when excited will build nothing solid. The one who consistently improves, markets, learns, and adapts, even when progress feels slow, builds a future. The difference between success and failure is not intensity. It is consistency. The danger of inconsistency is also in wasted time. Every time you stop, you lose momentum. When you start again, you begin not where you left off, but often further back, because skills have weakened, habits have decayed, and energy has been wasted. Consistency saves you from this endless cycle of starting over. It ensures that every effort compounds instead of being lost. Compounding effort is one of the most powerful forces in life, but inconsistency breaks the chain and destroys the return. To stick with consistent routines, you must make them non-negotiable. If you treat them as optional, your emotions will dictate them. Some days you will choose them, others you will not. Non-negotiable means you act regardless of how you feel. You do not tote with you do not search for excuses. You simply do what is required. Over time, this becomes your default state. It stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a natural part of life. Another truth about consistency is that it builds credibility, not just with yourself, but with others. People notice your patterns. They learn whether your word can be trusted. Inconsistency erodes that trust. If you say you will do something but constantly fail to follow through, others stop believing you. Opportunities pass to those who prove themselves reliable. On the other hand, when your routines are consistent, people see you as dependable. They trust you with greater responsibilities, and doors open. Your reputation is built not on what you intend, but on what you consistently do. Consistency also brings clarity. When you stick with a routine, you can measure progress over time. You see what works and what doesn't. You make adjustments based on evidence, not guesswork. But if you are inconsistent, you never gather enough data to know whether your path is effective. You stay trapped in confusion, jumping from one idea to the next, without lasting improvement. Clarity is earned through persistence. There is also freedom in consistency. Many people think routines restrict them, but the opposite is true. Inconsistency creates stress because you are constantly negotiating with yourself, wondering if you will act or not. Consistency removes that debate. You know what you will do, and you simply do it. That certainty frees mental energy for creativity, problem-solving, and growth. Without consistency, you are a prisoner of indecision. With it, you are liberated by structure. If you want to secure your destiny, treat inconsistency as a threat. Recognize that every skipped day, every abandoned commitment is not just a small failure,
It is an ace of your future loss. Then remind yourself that consistency is always within your control. You may not control circumstances, but you can control whether you act today. And when you choose consistency today, you build strength for tomorrow. Imagine where you could be 1 year from now if you stayed consistent. Picture the skills mastered, the health improved, the goals achieved, the respect earned. Then picture where you will be if you remain inconsistent, starting over, repeating the same promises, trapped in the same struggles. The contrast is stark, and the choice is yours. Stick to consistent routines because inconsistency kills destiny. It kills momentum, it kills belief, it kills progress, and eventually it kills dreams. But consistency builds the opposite. It builds strength, it builds identity, it builds credibility, and it builds the life you want. Every day you choose consistency, you write another line in the thair of your success. Do not let inconsistency hold the pen.
Number 10, design routines with purpose, because destiny is not random. Life is not a game of chance, no matter how often people try to convince themselves that success comes from luck. Your future is not shaped by random events, but by deliberate choices repeated daily. If your routines are designed with purpose, they act like a blueprint for the life you want. If they are left to randomness, they drag you into a future you never intended. Destiny is not random. It is constructed brick by brick through routines that are aligned with your vision. Every person already has routines. The question is whether they are intentional or accidental. Many people live in routines built from habit, culture, or convenience, without questioning them. They repeat the same actions each day, but those actions have no purpose. They are not connected to growth, not tied to goals, not aligned with a future worth building. And because routines become automatic, people don't notice the damage until years have passed. They look back and wonder why nothing changed. The answer is simple. Their routines were never designed with purpose. To design routines with purpose, you first need clarity about what you want. Purpose requires direction. If you don't know where you want to go, no routine can take you there. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to build? What qualities do I want to strengthen? What skills do I need to master? What habits will carry me toward that vision? Once you define those answers, you can construct routines that serve them. Without this clarity, your routines serve nothing but survive. The psychology behind purposeful routines is powerful. The brain loves structure. It thrives when it knows what to expect. When you give your brain routines tied to meaningful outcomes, it learns to associate effort with reward. Over time, those routines become part of your identity. You stop fighting with yourself about whether to act, because the design is already in place. Discipline becomes easier when your routines are built around purpose. But if your routines are random, the brain becomes scattered, chasing whatever provides the quickest relief. Relief feels good now, but it builds nothing lasting. A purposeful routine transforms ordinary moments into progress. Think about the difference between someone who wakes up and immediately falls into distraction versus someone who wakes up with a clear plan. The first person reacts to life. The second person directs life. Multiply that by years, and the difference is massive. Purposeful routines do not make days perfect, but they make days intentional, and intentional days create intentional future. You must also recognize that routines are not just about action. They are about energy. Purposeful routines conserve energy by removing decision fatigue. When you know what to do each morning, you don't waste willpower debating with yourself. You simply follow the design. That energy can then be directed toward meaningful work instead of wasted on indecision. Random routines drain energy because they create constant internal battles. You spend more time negotiating with yourself than actually acting. Purpose ends that way. Consider how purposeful routines shape character. Each time you follow through on a deliberate action, you build integrity. You are proving to yourself that you live by design, not by accident. That proof builds self-respect.
And self-respect builds confidence. When you know your days are aligned with purpose, you walk differently, think differently, and carry yourself differently. The opposite is also true. When your routines are careless, you know it deep down. That knowledge erodes confidence. It makes you question your own seriousness. Destiny is not kind to people who live in contradiction between what they want and what they repeat. Purposeful routines also protect you from distraction. The world will always try to pull your attention into meaningless activity. If your routines are weak, you are easily stolen by those distractions. But when your routines are purposeful, you have an anchor. You know where your focus belongs, and you return to it even when noise surrounds you. Purpose acts like a shield. It doesn't eliminate challenges, but it keeps you aligned with what matters most. Some people believe routines make life boring. In reality, purposeless routines make life dull because they lead to stagnation. Purposeful routines make life exciting because they lead to progress. Growth brings energy. Achievement brings fulfillment. A routine tied to purpose is not repetitive. It is rewarding. Each day becomes meaningful because each day builds towards something greater. Designing routines with purpose also requires review. You cannot simply set them once and forget them. Life changes, goals evolve, and new challenges appear. You must check your routines regularly to see if they still serve your vision. Ask yourself, are these actions moving me closer to who I want to become? If not, adjust them. Purposeful routines are not rigid. They are adaptable. What stays constant is not the specific action, but the intention behind it. Another critical point is that purpose brings resilience. When life becomes difficult, random routines collapse. You skip them because they were never tied to something meaningful. But purposeful routines survive difficulty because they are connected to vision. Even when you are tired, you keep them because you know why they matter. That why carries you through struggle. Without purpose, struggle becomes an excuse. With purpose, struggle becomes a reason to keep going. Imagine the long-term effect of this. 10 years of random routines leads to a life shaped by chance. You look back and see missed opportunities, wasted energy, and unfulfilled dreams. 10 years of purposeful routines leads to a life shaped by design. You look back and see progress, growth, and fulfillment. The difference is not intelligence, talent, or luck. The difference is whether you built routines that were intentional or accidental. So how do you begin? Start by identifying one routine in your life that is empty. Replace it with one tied to purpose. If your mornings are filled with noise, design a routine that begins with clarity. If your evenings are wasted, design a routine that includes reflection or preparation. If your health is neglected, design a routine that prioritizes movement and nourishment. Each change may feel small, but each one shifts your destiny because it shifts the direction of your days. Every person has the same hours in a day. What separates lives is how those hours are structured. Purposeful routines create compounding results. They take the same hours that others waste and turn them into progress. Over time, the gap widens until destiny itself looks completely different. This is why you cannot afford to let routines form without purpose. Each day of randomness is a day lost. Each day of purpose is a day invested. Destiny is not random. It is predictable, visible, and controllable through the choices you repeat. Design your routines with purpose, and you design your future. Refuse to do so, and you hand your future over to chance. And chance rarely delivers the life you dream about. Purpose does. You've just seen the truth laid bare. Your routines are not small details. They are the foundation of your future. The way you live each day is already shaping where you'll end up tomorrow. If your routines are strong, your destiny grows stronger. If your routines are weak, your destiny begins to collapse long before you realize it. Here's the challenge. Don't walk away from this video inspired but unchanged. Ask yourself right now, which routine in your life is building the future you want, and which routine is quietly destroying it? Write it down. Decide today what you'll replace, what you'll improve, and what you'll protect. That single decision could change the entire direction of your life. Remember this, your destiny isn't waiting somewhere far away. It's being written in the routines you repeat. Change those, and you hang everything. Come back for the next session because your future deserves more than chance. It deserves design.